And now from McAllen City Hall, a meeting of the McAllen City Commission.
To make the best decisions for your glory. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner.
We have a presentation today in recognition of National Punt, Pass, Kick Competition participants. Mr. Danny Malin.
Come on up.
Don't be shy, kids. Come on.
Denny. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager. Today's a very special day. As you can see.
There you go.
Coach, you want to bring some of the kids on this side?
Yeah, put them on the other side.
Very special day today. So we have these 9 kiddos in front of us. The City of McAllen Parks and Recreation Department provides the opportunity for after-school enrichment in the form of our after-school program, where children participate in fun and engaging activities after school on regular class days. The after-school program at McAllen Parks and Rec currently serves over 400 children across 8 locations in McAllen. One part of the overall curriculum that focuses on the recreation pillar is the mixed sports program. Registered participants have the opportunity to compete in the mixed sports program, which consists of a variety of different sporting events throughout the year, including the punt, pass, and kick NFL competition, which is a free national competition. It's a national qualifying program. So these kids that you see in front of us today had qualified for the national tournament. And for more, I'll give it over to Christina Macias.
Hi, everyone. The Punt, Pass, and Kick USA local qualifying event allows our athletes to showcase their skills in the following categories. So punting, passing, kicking, the 40-yard dash, and the broad jump. Before nationals, we had the total of 9 children you see up here compete in Tampa. To give you a better idea of the event, can you please take a look at the video so we can see the video? Our national qualifiers, Noe Falcon III and Jordan Charles, competed and placed 13th and 14th overall in their respective divisions. Aaliyah Medrano won her first national title at the 2021 Punt, Pass, and Kick USA National Finals, and Aaliyah once again took home the title for the 2022 National Finals Girls 8 and 9 overall champion in Tampa, Florida. Our team is always keeping top of mind ways to enhance our offerings. So when the athletics division had the opportunity to submit to host the national event, we did not hesitate. We are very excited to announce that participants from across the nation will show off their skills when the McAllen Parks and Recreation hosts the 2025 Punt, Pass, and Kick USA Finals at the McAllen Sports Park. And thank you, Coach Santos and the team, for all your help.
Congratulations to all our qualifiers and champions, and of course to Mrs. Macias and Mr. Denny Moline to bringing that championship to our city. Congratulations, and to all you proud parents. Next item, we have a proclamation, National Engineers Week, Eduardo Mendoza. We have Commissioner Tony Aguirre
There you go.
presenting the proclamation.
Mandamos. Ahorita les saludo. Come on, engineers. Get all the engineers over here. Roy's an engineer.
Yeah, why don't you come
Ah,
down?
Roy's an engineer. Ándale, Roy. Lalo. Very good. This is a proclamation, State of Texas, the County of Hidalgo, and the City of McAllen. Whereas Engineers Week was started in 1951 by the National Society of Professional Engineers to raise public awareness of engineers' positive contribution to quality of life. And to whereas engineers use their scientific and technical knowledge and skills to provide planning, design, and oversight for the traffic, transportation, water and wastewater systems, the storm drainage system of the city of McAllen. And whereas engineers face the major technological challenges of our time, from rebuilding towns devastated by natural disasters to providing planning, design, and oversight for the various projects located within our city of McAllen. And whereas the important efforts of engineers help drive the economy in the city of McAllen, protect our environment, and ensure public safety. And whereas engineers continue to encourage our young students to realize the importance of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics programs and degrees in our region. And whereas we look more than ever to engineers and their knowledge and skills to meet the challenges of the future and the efforts and contributions to the engineering profession of our city of McAllen, which we acknowledge. Now, therefore, I, Tony Aguirre Jr., City Commissioner of the City of McAllen, by virtue of its authority and on behalf of the Mayor and the City Council, do hereby proclaim February 19th through the 25th, 2023 as National Engineering Week. Before I give it to you, I want to say that engineering is one of those professions that are, you only remember them when they fail, okay? It's one of those overlooked, one of those things that without them, you know, we take things for granted. Traffic, drainage, water, when you open your spigot and the water flushes, goes down, and you need it. And more importantly, when you, in the bathroom and the toilet, that it flushes and gets away as fast as possible. And guess what? It finally gets delivered, engineerly wise, to a wastewater treatment plant that treats it. Those are the things that we take for granted every single day. And without it, all of those features, it could not be done. It has to be engineered. And we have to have the quality of engineering in our region and in our city to get us through this whole thing. And I really appreciate it. I worked with many of y'all, and y'all do a great job for us. And we run a very good city in our region, and we're very, very proud of it. And a lot of it is because of the engineering that is done by y'all.
Thank you, Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commission for this proclamation. I'd like to take this moment to celebrate how engineers make a difference in the world and, more importantly, in our community. Behind me are just some of the engineers that make a difference in our city and our community. We thank you for this recognition of their contributions and for this proclamation. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service. Yes, Roy, you need to take a picture. I just want to know if there's a National Attorneys Week.
Ya empezaste.
Ya empezamos otra vez.
Right, Jimmy? Or even a National Bankers Week.
So, you got some? Or no? The day?
Yeah, I got some.
That's from that batch. It's nice, dude.
I'm just going to wait till it gets back.
Perry Ellis. Perry Ellis. Tengo otras 40.
Thank you. As our city manager makes his way back up, I understand from the city secretary that we have no agenda item public comment signed up, correct? All right. I'll call this public hearing meeting to an order at this time. Item 1A, routine items. Mr.
Mayor Pro
Garcia.
Tem, Commissioners, good evening. Tonight, we have 5 items listed under routine, 3 rezonings and 2 conditional use permits. As always, they come with a favorable recommendation from P&Z and had no opposition. They can be approved in one motion or discussed separately as desired. They are a rezoning from C30 to C3 at 2825 Pecan Boulevard, a rezone from C30 to C3 at 6117 North Ware Road, a rezone from R1 to C3 at 6117 North Ware Road Mid, a request for a conditional use permit for life of the use for a prayer house at 1214 South Main Street, and a conditional use permit for 1 year for an event center with a chapel at 6117 North Ware Road.
All right, we've heard from Mr. Garcia. These are routine items that all come with a favorable recommendation. Are there any items that are required or needed to be removed by any of the commissioners? If not,
I'd like to remove one from,
Okay. What item is that, Commissioner?
number 1,
Item A.
or discuss it separately. I
Okay,
guess.
1A1
Yes.
will be removed. I'll entertain a motion to the remaining items, A1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. Oh, yes, is there anybody, thank you. Is there anybody here in opposition to the favorable recommendation for items 2, 3, 4, and 5? Hearing not,
Move to approve.
is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those same sign say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Item 1A1.
Yes, sir. So this property is located at the southeast corner of Pecan Boulevard and North 29th. Adjacent zoning is AO to the west, R1 to the north, and R3A east and south. Surrounding uses include single-family homes, restaurant, STC, and a high school. The applicant is requesting C3 to allow for more commercial opportunities. Development trend along Pecan Boulevard is residential and commercial. The item was presented at the January 17th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. There was no opposition, and it was unanimously recommended for approval.
Are there any members of the public that are wishing to oppose the favorable recommendation for rezoning 2825 Pecan Boulevard? Anybody here in opposition to the rezoning? Okay, it does come back with a favorable recommendation. Discussion.
Yeah, this is a neighborhood center next to residential and some multifamilies next to the STC, and I'm thinking that the reason why it's wanting to be rezoned to C3 is maybe for a vape shop or a liquor store or something that effect. So I would generally be opposed to that type of zoning in a neighborhood center, and so that's my reason to be opposed to it.
Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Okay. Could the applicant come forward, please? I would kindly ask you just to state your name.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Monica Gonzalez. I'm the owner for the property.
Okay.
Is there any questions, or do I have to?
No, the question
Explain?
would be what your, I guess, intention is with wanting to go to C3.
To have more opportunities to lease. Even though I would lease to a vape shop, it would still go through the city.
Sure.
And the city would have to approve it. But I wouldn't be limited to any, business. I would have the opportunity to lease to a more variety of tenants. And the reason maybe that it would be, I think there was a call. It was for the parking spaces, but there's 45 parking spaces in the suites. It's 5 suites.
How many does a restaurant take up?
What do you mean?
How many parking spots does the restaurant take?
I'm not sure.
There's a
'Cause
formula, Edgar, you have it?
It's one parking spot for every 100 square feet. But once we get into that calculation, we remove any cooking areas, any
okay.
storages, so
Yeah.
give you the exact number.
It's a formula, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think.
I'm sure you have enough.
Jumping ahead a bit.
Right.
You know, we're really in a rezoning question, and
Yeah.
I understand Omar's concerns, but I also understand there's significantly larger amount of businesses that fall under C3.
yes,
Yeah.
correct.
No,
so it
definitely.
catches-
And we can control that part, Umar, I mean.
Yeah,
there's
they have to
anything
follow the
else.
same permitting
But
process.
you can open a little bit more of
CUP.
flexibility for them to lease to other people.
So without going into further detail, this is just simply to rezone from C3L to C3. Obviously, we can't go into very specifics in terms of what the business plan for Mrs. Gonzalez entails. Nevertheless, planning and zoning, whatever requirements will be needed, will be addressed at that appropriate time.
Correct.
Thanks.
At this time, we'll,
I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? 1 nay. Commissioner Quintanilla, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, 1B, conditional use permits. Mr. Garcia.
So this property is located at the northeast corner of South 10th and Wichita Avenue. It is Zone C3. Adjacent zoning is C3 to the north, west, and east, and AO to the south. Adjacent uses include the McAllen Country Club, shopping plazas, the mall, and condos. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to continue operating Ojos Locos Cantina from 11 a.m. to midnight, Sunday through Wednesday, and then 11 to 2 a.m. Thursday through Saturday. The item was presented at the January 17th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. There was no opposition, and it was disapproved with a favorable recommendation.
Okay, we heard from Mr. Garcia on this request for a conditional use permit for a bar. Are there any persons in the audience in opposition to the request being made by the applicant? Hearing none, I'll entertain an appropriate motion.
Move to approve with
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing no discussion at this time, all those in favor of said motion say aye. All those against? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item.
This property, 2111 South 10th, is located along the east side of South 10th, just west of Toronto Avenue. Adjacent zoning is C3 to the north, west, and south, R3C to the east. Surrounding uses are businesses, restaurants, La Plaza Mall, and condos. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for a bar and grill, Oak, Texas, Southtown, with hours of 11 to 2 a.m. daily. The applicant is part of an operating group that has shown a previous disregard for city ordinances and state law, including operating in the entertainment and cultural overlay district without a special use permit, not checking ID, and serving minors. The item was presented at the February 7th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. There was no opposition. It was disapproved with a favorable recommendation. However, staff is recommending disapproval due to the previous issues that we've had with the applicant's companies.
We've heard from Mr. Garcia and also the recommendation for disapproval of the conditional use permit. Is there anyone here that is in favor
The applicant is here.
of the conditional use permit for a bar and grill at 2011 South 10th Street? Are there any persons here? Please come forward, sir. I'm going to kindly ask you just to please state your name for the record.
Yes, Juan Ignacio Verdura.
All right, Mr. Verdura, go ahead. You are making a request for a conditional use permit, and it's coming from planning and zoning with an unfavorable recommendation.
Yes, I understand that, sir.
Okay. You've been made aware of the violations that have been, I guess, alleged?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, I think that those violations were with another company, another legal entity, and not the legal entity that is actually requesting the conditional use permit. And this is something that was discussed with the Planning and Zoning Department.
Did that legal entity have the same members?
No, it does not.
At all? Not even one?
It's got a different member, correct.
So is this, because I'm familiar with the location, I've seen the sign. Is this
Yes, sir.
different ownership than the location north?
Yes, that's correct.
But y'all are going to
So
operate under the same name but with different owners?
So the location in downtown has one owner. The location at Uptown has a separate owner. And this location down here has a different ownership as well.
So 3 different ownerships.
Correct, yes, sir.
Any shared ownership?
There is one individual has share ownership with the North McAllen location that does not have these previously mentioned issues, I guess you could say.
Okay, well, we need to clarify that in the city, violations. You do realize that we have had some problems in the past, and this is a conditional use permit.
Yes, sir, I completely understand that.
In the future,
Yes, sir.
can you reassure us that we're going to have a good operation,
Yeah, yes, sir. If I may speak a little bit as to how this business has progressed. I think we started the downtown area in the past, and the previous owners have made the effort to get out of that area and work towards bringing in, changing the atmosphere of the business and bringing in a different type of clientele. Working through COVID and all of that has really made a completely different effort to ensure that minors are not in there, that minors are not served security and abide by all the city regulations and state regulations.
Members of the Board of Commissioners, I have to apologize, I made an error. The Planning and Zoning Commission did have a vote to disapprove the request, but still nevertheless comes back with a favorable recommendation to the variance with regard to the distance requirement, which is number 1. And I appreciate Mr. Commissioner Quintanilla clarifying that. Mr. Garcia, can you enlighten us a little bit more in terms of the issues that you had raised regarding the violation?
Yeah, so that specific bar was Club Elevate. It, again, had numerous issues. The owner there, Jorge Guajardo, owns a lot of different bars. Mr. Verdura is correct. There are separate LLCs, kind of a web of it that we had to untangle. We were able to find a Texas Franchise Tax Public Information Report from just 2 weeks ago, February 2nd, where Mr. Jorge Guajardo is signing on behalf of OTBG Southtown. And so that to us kind of is the link. There's certainly different LLCs there, but we believe that Jorge Guajardo is still involved as he is signing for those franchise taxes to the state.
And that was exactly my question right now that I asked Mr. Ventura. If one of the members was still in one of the entities on this entity.
Now, outside of Elevate,
no,
the issues with that club downtown, are there issues with, let's say, this business known as Oak Uptown?
As of right now, they haven't been raised or they haven't been caught.
So the common denominator in this businesses is Mr. Guajardo.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And he's the one with violations.
Correct.
What is the pleasure of the commission?
I make a motion to deny.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Having heard a motion and a second on the motion to deny the conditional use permit as requested by the applicant, is there any need for further discussion? If not,
Well, I've been to Oak Uptown and on 10th, and it's nice location and good food, and I haven't had any problems with it, but I have no idea of what they're going to operate over here. That's why I was asking them the question of what kind of operation they were going to have over here. I know that there has been construction there by street passing by it, so.
I mean, they could have good food and ambience and everything, but the violations are there.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
Or affecting other business owners as well. I assume it's I don't know how many individuals are involved in the business. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but then what precedent are we setting for? I guess Uptown doesn't have a renewal coming up. They're not under a CUP, correct?
I don't know. Mr. Garcia?
Oh,
They do. So
Yeah, you're right.
deny a new operating permit, you're going to have an upcoming renewal. I mean, are we barring someone from doing business in
But the
McAllen?
violation was downtown, right?
Right,
That
the
Club
violation.
Elevate, and I believe there's still pending issues with that. I'm not sure.
That lawsuit remains pending in the court.
Correct,
That's
right?
Okay.
And from the one in Uptown?
We do not have litigation directly involved with the city at Uptown. I believe I recall seeing a news report where there may have been some wage and hour violations at that location. But I recall that generally from, reading the local news media. The only litigation the city is involved with any individual that is ostensibly involved in this organization was the downtown bar. And that litigation remains pending.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for disapproval of the conditional use permit at this location for a bar and grill. Is there any further need for additional discussion?
There's just, and it's a comment, this doesn't reflect on the other owners, but if the same owner with the problems is still involved, I have a little bit of concern on that. Because I don't know how it's going to be operating. And if the message is going to be like, well, you can do whatever you want, we're going to grant it on future venues. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I've always been a big advocate for new business and for businesses. I grew up in the nightclub business myself, but we have to be careful on what message we send to the people who do the violations in the city of McAllen. That's my whole concern. That's it.
If there's no need for discussion, all those in favor of the motion to deny the conditional use permit application, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against?
Aye. Nay.
Okay. That was 3 denying and 2 actually in favor of the conditional approval. The ayes have it, and the conditional use permit application is denied. Next item.
Next item is the amending of the zoning ordinance. Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the amending the zoning ordinance. Do I hear a motion? I'll call again. Do I hear a motion for amending the zoning ordinance of the city of McAllen? Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item. That concludes the public hearing portion of this meeting. Next item, 2, consent agenda. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, sir. We've got items 2A through 2H on consent, and we can pull any item that you would desire.
Is there any member of the Board of Commissioners that is seeking to have an item removed for additional discussion or consideration? And if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve 2A to H.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item.
Next item is on bids and contracts. 3A is award of contract for micro transit services.
Mr. Delgado. Well,
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission. Recently, a request for proposal was released for microtransit services to include the zone that we currently operate, as well as the potential for expansion. On January 26th, 2 proposals were received from Wellness Center, McAllen, Texas, and Rideco US Inc. from Los Angeles. A committee of city staff was established to grade the proposals based on the RFP criteria. The committee unanimously graded Rideco higher than the Wellness Center for a score of 90 to 69 average. The Transit Department is seeking authorization to award a contract to Rideco, including the ability to expand for a cost of $46.80 per revenue mile, as well as the ability to expand in the future for $4,000 for the implementation of additional zones. And each additional zone would have also the same $46.80 per revenue mile. We estimate the yearly cost to be $196,560, of which 80% will be covered by an FTA grant and 20% local funds. Entertain any questions you may have at this time.
How much longer do we have the federal grant supporting this program?
So we have our yearly allocations. So those funds we could use in perpetuity to operate. It's just similar to what we use for operating directly. This would be a contract operations. The difference is when we operate services directly, it's at 50-50. If it's a contracted service, we get 80% subsidy versus 20 local match.
Oh, okay.
all right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
B is award of contract for the purchase and installation of PlayStation, and it is through by board.
Okay. Mr. Millie?
Good evening. Yes, the Park and Recreation Department solicited a by-board quote from Park Place Recreation Designs for the purchase and installation of a new play system there at Bill Shute Park for $94,369. The Parks and Recreation Department recommends award of contract to Park Place Recreation Designs.
I'm happy for it. Quick question.
Yes, sir.
We budgeted significantly more. Did we scale the play system down, or it just happens to be there a good price?
No, sir, that was a good price. This is the second play structure off of that request, and we have one more to go for Bill Shute Park.
Oh, okay. So it's within that same budgeted amount?
Yes, sir. The money was for all three plus the current projects that we are doing there at Bill Shute.
All right.
Benny, how do we decide on the way that these playscapes are going to look? And I know that there's a variety of different looks and options, and I've gone to other cities and seen different types of amenities on their
Right.
playscapes. And so, just wondering, is there kind of a group that figures out which ones are the best ones?
It's within the department to make recommendations for those.
Okay.
Moving forward, we try not to duplicate the same place systems as we do in the whole city. That way, we give residents an opportunity to visit other locations with a variety of different play structures.
Very good. We've heard from Mr. Merlin. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item.
C is award of contract for the purchase and pickup of Type D hot mix asphalt.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission. Martino Trevino, Deputy Director of Public Works, filling in for Ms.
Good afternoon, sir.
Public Works is requesting approval to award a multi-vendor supply contract for the purchase of Type D hot mix asphalt, concrete, limestone, or river rock aggregate for the Street Maintenance Department to sustain various paving functions throughout the year. Material meets item 340 of TxDOT standard specifications. The lowest bid came in from Tierra Firma Materials of Edinburgh, Texas, which will serve as a primary supplier at a unit price of $78.22 per ton. Sinolo LLC of Edinburgh, Texas will serve as a secondary vendor at a unit price of $80.65 per ton for the same material.
They guarantee it for 1 year?
This will be a 2-year contract. 3 year.
3 years.
3-year contract at the same price?
Amazing.
Oh.
And with that, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item.
D is consideration and authorization to negotiate a Broadway series contract.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the Commission. A request for proposal was recently released for a program and producer for the Broadway series at the McAllen Performing Arts Center. RFP responses were due February 3rd. We received one proposal from Nederlander National Markets. Staff recommends approval to negotiate and possibly award a contract with Nederlander National Markets for the program or producer series at the McAllen Performing Arts Center, subject to final approval from the City Attorney's Office.
We've heard from Mrs. Flores with regards to her recommendation for the award of consideration authorization to negotiate a contract with Nederlander National Markets. I'll entertain the appropriate motion.
So moved.
Second.
There's a second. Discussion. Mrs. Flores, is this the first time in a while that we've done an RFP for this type of contract, or?
This is correct. We did an RFP prior to the opening of the Performing Arts Center.
Okay. And is this something that we do every 4 or 5 years, or just based on how the vendor is doing, or?
Right. The last time we went to RFP, we had a 5-year award with an option for another 5 years.
And did the prior vendor also submit another RFP for this time?
They did not.
Did not. Okay. Is it unusual to only just have one response? I mean, given our size or market? I would have hoped there would have been more. Is what I'm
We
getting
would have
at.
hoped for more as well. There are not a lot of producers for this specific series.
Oh, I see.
Do you anticipate the caliber of shows to be as good or better? What are your thoughts on?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great.
Very good. Any more discussion? If not, having heard a motion in a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Flores.
E is award of contract for the McAllen Public Safety HVAC upgrades.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem and Commission. The Engineering Department received 2 bid proposals for the McAllen Public Safety Building. The work consists of the replacement of roof-mounted package and split systems. The Alex Group LLC and engineering staff recommend award a contract to the responsible bidder, Texair Company, Inc. of McAllen, Texas, for the total base bid in the amount of $1,578,500. The work to be completed in 240 calendar days. This project is part of our energy efficiency grant that at one time a company had done an energy study on units that needed replacement and were old, and so this is just one of the buildings that we're retrofitting.
Very good. We've heard the recommendation from Mr. Mendoza with regards to the award of contract. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
I'll abstain from that one.
Okay. And it'll be noted that Commissioner Sevi Haddad has abstained from the discussion and motion being entertained. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, hearing none, motion carries. Next item.
F is award of contract for professional engineering service for the McAllen Recycling Center.
Again, this item, staff has negotiated professional services for the preparation of construction advertisement documents with Burns and McDonald's. The goal is to procure equipment that is semi-automate recycling activities more efficiently and install equipment in the remodeled space. The goal is to procure equipment that automates or semi-automates the recycling activity, and we recommend approval to Burns McDonald of Houston, Texas, in the total amount not to exceed $97,230. And we open it for any questions.
Okay. We've heard the explanation from Mr. Mendoza with regards to the contract. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Having a second? Okay. Having heard the motion and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item.
G is a work contract for the Veterans War Memorial flagpoles upgrade.
The scope of work includes a replacement of 63 existing steel flagpoles with new aluminum flagpoles and respective full flag assemblies and hardware. Staff recommends award of the contract to the lowest responsive bidder, Kimber 1985 LLC of Mission, Texas, in the amount of $168,000 with a contract time not to exceed 120 days. We just want to advise that the top bidder is the first time they've bid. We have worked with the owner before through D. Wilson. He was a project manager for them. He was finished off the parking garage. So we do have experience with a person, but this will be the first time with a company. We think they can perform this work.
Very good.
I just had a question. I just don't remember it from budget. It's going from steel to aluminum, but are the poles, are they no good anymore? We're just replacing them all?
So typically you don't use steel poles for flag poles. They weather, you have to paint them, they chip. If you go out there and you look, they're white, and then there's like brownish, reddish colors from where it's rusting. It becomes a maintenance issue. This makes it a lot easier for the Parks and Rec Department, along with the Convention Center, to maintain those flagpoles.
How long will the aluminum poles last?
They have a pretty good lifespan. I mean, the ones out in front of City Hall, we have not replaced them. It's spun aluminum. We opened in '93, so they have a pretty good lifespan, 15 to 20 years at least.
We just junk these, or what do we do with them?
The contractor's required to dispose of these unless we feel there's a salvage value. At this time, we don't feel there's a salvage value.
Just curious question.
Me too.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
Having heard a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Hearing none, motion carries.
Item H is consideration and approval of change order number 4 and final for Trenton Avenue and Auburn Avenue.
There were 4 items that comprised of this change order. 2 were due to the utility conflicts, which are the SW3P and traffic. Where they had to install, we had utility conflicts that required the contractor to uninstall and reinstall the SW3P and traffic. That's items 1 and 2. Items 3 and 4 were small items added to complete quantities that added pedestrian benefits to the project. They were in a small amount. Staff recommends approval of change order number 4 and final in the amount of $26,479 for the final contract amount of $510,018.14 with a final contract time of 144 days. And we do have money in the budget to cover this change order, and we recommend approval.
Heard from Mr. Mendoza regarding the consideration and approval for the change order number 4. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Here's a second.
Second.
Discussion. What cost $35 for item 4?
It was probably pavement marking is
Marking.
what they added. It's just, we do it by quantities, so when we reconcile this, if they're a little bit over, we pay for those additional quantities. Just like if they didn't provide the full quantity, we would have deducted.
I see. No questions? Okay. Having heard the motion and a second to approve the change order, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, motion carries.
Appreciate it.
4A is consideration of a variance request to the escrow requirements at 2501 Russell Road.
Hi, the applicant has requested for this item to be tabled.
Okay, I'll
Motion to
entertain.
table.
Motion to table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Item is now tabled. Manager's report.
A is advisory board appointments.
Mrs. City Secretary, Mrs. Lala, good afternoon.
Yes, Mayor, Pro Tem, and Commissioners, this item is for advisory board appointments. I have received nominations for new nominations and reappointments from Commissioner Aguirre, Commissioner Pepe Cabeza de Vaca, and Mayor Pro Tem Zamora, and the reappointments are listed in purple, and the new nominations are listed in blue. And at this time, I will entertain any new nominations if you wish to reappoint any of those members that are listed in green. They're all eligible and wish to get reappointed.
I'll reappoint those that are on my list.
Yeah, I've got one. I'll reappoint Harry Yuri to the Traffic Commission, and then for the Golf Course Advisory Board, Javier De La Garza is coming off. I'll appoint Frank Davila.
Okay.
And I'll get back to you on Senior Citizens Board.
Okay.
Let me get back to you.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
And I'll get back to you on the
I will
ambulance.
reappoint all of my green ones and make a motion to appoint Kevin Pagan for the Civil Service Commission.
And I'll get back to you with regards to ambulance and as well as the disability advisory boards.
Okay, sir.
All right.
I'll get back to you, Tamara.
Okay.
Okay. Having heard all nominations from each respective commissioner, I'll entertain a motion.
Move. Second.
All those in favor of said nominations being made by the Board of Commissioners, say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none?
B is year-to-date tax collection report.
Good evening,
Good evening,
Mr. Mayor
Ms.
and City Commission. Before you, please find this year-to-date collection report for the period of October the 1st, 2022 through January 31st, 2023. As always, you'll see the beginning balance for the year. This year, we began with the beginning balance of $58,106,7.24. There was corrections from the appraisal district that added to the amount of $759,352.77, which brought our adjusted levy to $58,865,360.01. The year-to-date base collected amount was $48,633,234.12, compared to last year at $46,189,197.59, leaving a receivable balance of $10,232,125.89, which brings our year-to-date collection rate to 82.62%. Towards the middle of the report, you'll just see a breakdown by property type. It basically just gives you the beginning balance for real estate, personal property, mobile homes, minerals, and then the year-to-date rate at the end of the report, to the right, I'm sorry. And towards the bottom of the report, you'll see additional collections and fees that we collect at the tax office. There is an amount of $69,367.91 collections for late rendition penalties, an amount of $159,351.12 for penalties and interest, an amount of $85,296.32 for attorney fees, a total of $380 for tax certificates, $100 for return checks, and we have collected year-to-date an amount of $34,711.81 for rollback taxes. We also collect for the Public Improvement District, and that amount up to date has been $450.86. If there's any questions that you may have, I will be happy to
In
answer.
the Public Improvement District, that's
The
specific
Tres
to-
Lagos.
Tres Lagos.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I missed it. On the modifications, what does that represent?
That's just corrections from the appraisal district. It can be anything from late over 65 or just late protests.
I see. Thank you for the explanation.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
The next item is the immigration report.
Oh, wait. Mr. Gonzalez?
Number 2 on that.
I'm sorry, B2? On the
Oh, I'm
delinquents.
sorry. Yeah.
We wouldn't want to forget Mr. Gonzalez,
So
would
you
we?
can skip me, it's fine, I'll just go sit back.
You're no Kelly, that's for sure.
I know.
Go ahead, sir.
For the record, Jimmy Gonzalez with Linebarger. I'm here to speak of our collections delinquent tax collection report from October 1st, 2022 through January 31st, 2023. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. For the record, Lawyers Week is May 16th.
Thank you,
through the
sir.
22nd.
Appreciate that. I didn't realize that.
And also, people only come to lawyers when they have problems. It's never any good, right? So for our collection report, with Linebarger, we concentrate on compassionate collections. So that means that we try to do the best we can to meet with your taxpayers to initiate payment plans. That's the best for everybody, and we do that through communication. During this period, we initiate phone calls, we do property visits, we actually knock and talk to try to get people to come into the office to initiate payoff requests or payoff agreements. When that doesn't work, when there's no communication, there's no consistent payments, or they don't abide by the payment agreements, then we initiate litigation. During this period, we filed 38 cases and took over 20 judgments. On page 3 of my report, you can see what our collections were for this period. We collected in base $500,128, in penalty and interest $159,351, a total of $659,479. As you can see in the report, gave a 5-year comparison. Reason I did that is that as you can see the last 2 years, October 2020, October 2021, that period, they were over $900,000. Those were during the pandemic years. They were record-breaking years, and a big part of that was because there were many federal stimulus packages that were offered to everybody. One was the American Recovery Program that offered free grant money to pay off delinquent taxes and mortgages, things like that, because of the pandemic. Second one was there were 2 or 3 stimulus packages as far as checks that were given out to everyone. Also, there were SNAP benefits to parents with children. This last period we did not have the benefit of any of those, coupled with increasing inflation, gas prices, things like that. So it was a very tough period. But as you can see, we were right in line through pre-pandemic years, back in 2019, 2018. So I'm very confident that we'll rebound successfully and be able to hit our collection goals for McAllen. That's it. Any questions?
Any questions from the Board of Commissioners?
Thank you. Did your firm have a Super Bowl ad this year?
I did not see one, no. And I sure wasn't in it. I know that for sure if there was one.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Gonzalez,
very
for
much. I
your report.
appreciate
Appreciate
it.
your time.
Thank you.
Next item, the Immigration Respite Center report.
Yes, sir, we've got Mario.
Mario Salgado.
I'm wearing my emergency management hat. I'm filling in for Jeff Johnson on the Immigration and Respite Center report. Current numbers are moderate in nature. In the last 3 weeks, we've had 625 with a 0.5% positivity rate, 774 with a 0 positivity rate, and 848 with a 1.5 positivity rate, respectively. Some of these are being tested by our contractor, and others are being tested by the releasing agency, so we don't get all of them there at the testing site. We don't have any good intel on the Title 42 front, so we'll keep you abreast of that once we hear anything. Nansen Lewis Park remains on standby, and approximately 1,700 capacity should we need to ramp up quickly. And that's all for the report. If you have any questions, I'll entertain them at this time.
Any questions from the Board of Commissioners regarding this item? All right, Mr. Delgado, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
D is future agenda items.
Okay. City Secretary was kind enough to pass around the future agenda item checklist. If y'all can take a moment to look at that. I do have a recommendation, not necessarily as a future agenda item, but maybe, Mr. City Manager, if you can provide us an update to the what was it? The improvements that are being made through HVAC at the larger facilities in our city to reduce costs and all that. Mr. Mendoza had alluded to that a little earlier in our city agenda.
Sure.
Maybe through the Friday packet.
Sir.
Thank you, sir. Any items for consideration? I seem to recall the end of December, January, this list almost being blank, so you got your work cut out, Mr. City Manager. Let's see. All right, there's no additional input. Mr. City Attorney?
Mayor Pro Tem, items 6A through C qualify for consideration in executive session. I recommend the commission recess to executive session to do that.
Okay, we're recessed for executive session. reconvene this meeting, coming back out of executive session. Mr. City Attorney?
Mayor Pro Tem, with respect to item 6A, I recommend the commission take no action. With respect to item 6B, I recommend the commission consider a motion authorizing city manager and city attorney to prepare and execute all documents reasonable and necessary to sell the property on the terms described in executive session.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? Hearing none, motion carries.
And with respect to item 6C, I recommend the city commission consider a motion authorizing city manager and city attorney to take those actions described in executive session.
Having heard recommendation, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Having heard a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, motion carries. And I believe that is the last item. And with that, we are adjourned for today's meeting.
Regular City Commission meetings are held on the second and fourth Monday of each month. Meetings are rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on the McAllen Cable Network.
For an engineering project, we too needed expert support, and we did that. We came together and we created an RFP so that we could seek an advertising agency that could help us market, brand, and campaign for us here in McAllen. And when we did that, we interviewed several different advertising agencies from the area.